My husband gave up his daughter years ago. Now she's 13. Her mom abandoned her, and CPS asked us to take her. He said no. I said yes. We fought. She moved in, and things had been different ever since. So my husband and I are currently cooling down from a fight. And he called me a few things, including some of those terrible words. Everything is a bit of a mess right now, so emotions are running high, but I really need a sanity check and maybe some fresh arguments because I feel like we are going in circles. Long story long, my husband had a daughter when he was in his early 20s with his ex-girlfriend. They were not good for each other, a lot of fighting and just emotional abuse. So they split just before the child was born. He has been very open about this in our relationship and how he regrets not taking more care to not get her pregnant because they were young and immature and stupid. He never really got to build a relationship with his daughter. Her mother would just keep the kid from him and made it clear that she did not want him in their life. He has paid child support the whole way through, but it has been uphill for our entire relationship. When we met, my husband had matured greatly and was eventually ready to start a family. So I have seen a bit from the sideline. When our first child was born, his ex went for more child support because if he can afford a new kid, he can afford to pay up. She is always being super nasty in any conversation they might have. And she taught their daughter the same thing. He has tried to at least get a phone call for Christmas, and last year his daughter said some really awful things on that call. Calling him deadbeat and other awful things, telling him she hates him and never wants to get to know him. She is 13 now, so I know that her mother is still influencing her a lot, but she is also reaching an age where he can't just say that she doesn't know what she is saying or how hurtful it is. So my husband has basically given up trying. None of them want him to try, so he resigned to that. A few days ago he got a call. The core of it is that his daughter told a teacher that she was being SA at home. CPS showed up and her mother split, disappearing. They want her to come live with us. My husband wanted to decline. He has no relationship with this child. She seems to hate his gut. We have younger children and honestly no experience dealing with a trauma like that. He believes she would be better off with a foster family who knows what they are dealing with. I told him that there is no way this kid got abused, abandoned, and then getting rejected from the only family she has. We are taking her in, and we will figure out the rest. That poor kid needs some stability, not getting tossed around in the system. Currently, we are not in agreement, and I know that he has the last word since I'm just his partner and not related to this girl. Am I being unreasonable in thinking this is a huge red flag, and that he needs to step up to be a father for her too? Edit. Okay, this has been a bit overwhelming to come back to, but I'll try to clear up a few things. I'm aware I have no legal say in the matter, but my husband and I are a team and a family, so my opinion matters to him. Neither of us have experience with the foster system, so we are really just going off what we think we know. I want to thank everyone who has been able to elaborate a bit more on this. Yes, my husband was a deadbeat dad in the beginning. Later on, he's been able to see that they were a really bad match, but that he should probably have tried harder. Once visits became an option, he tried, but she would forget and not be home or say it wasn't the date they agreed on and stuff like that. Maybe he could have gone through court, but he just gave up, really. Hindsight is 20/20, but it doesn't change the fact of the now, unfortunately. Mini update. We sat down to have a talk about why the discussion had gone off the rails. Not touching the subject yet, but just why we ended up in a screaming match. He told me that he was completely overwhelmed by this and was in a panic. According to him, the CPS person had made it sound like he could take her in, or she would go into a system that spits out substance-addicted prostitutes, as one comment colorfully put it. He feels really guilty for letting this happen to his kid. Even if she hates his guts, he feels like he should have done something to prevent this. I guess I was too focused on how bad his daughter might be off right now to truly see that he was hurting just as bad right now. We've agreed to talk about it again in the morning in a more calm setting and try to get some more facts about what can be done. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted, but we have both called off work tomorrow so we can take the time we need. I hope there is a positive update in the near future. Update 1. Things are pretty hectic right now, but a lot of people were kind enough to take time out of their day to offer advice and their own experiences, and I want to say thank you for that. I'm not going into details. There is a lot more going than I'm sharing here, so I can assure you that divorce is nowhere near on the table for us. We have had several tough talks in the last few days, but once we got past the worst panic, we were a lot more on the same page than we thought. My husband have agreed to take responsibility for his daughter and is looking into an emergency custody of her. We are not trying to play family, as some suggested. He is going to take legal charge of her and keep her out of the system. She will not be living with us right now. We have contacted an inpatient therapy clinic that can take her in to start the healing process. My husband is taking leave from work and leasing a second car so he can be there as much as needed/possible. He knows she might never consider him her father or even family, but from now on, we will be her support system. She won't have to depend on a poor, overworked CPS contact random legal guardians' homes changing, etc. If she needs therapy, we will get it for her. If she needs legal counsel, we will get it for her. If she needs the system, we will help her navigate it. If she wants to live with a foster family, we will support that. We will make it clear that our support is not conditioned on her playing family with us. She never has to set foot in our home if she chooses not to. We know that she might never appreciate any of it, but that is okay too. We have some savings we can take from, and we are setting up a college fund for her as well. It will not make her rich, but we hope to be able to cover at least some of it when the time comes. We're starting family therapy as well to start talking to our kids about the fact that they have a sister and that dad will be gone a lot more for a while. My husband will be starting therapy as well to work on his guilt and hurt from this whole situation. Mini update. I am not going to go into details, but kind people have reached out and offered help and advice, and I want to thank you all for that. We did not ship my stepdaughter off to a mental asylum indefinitely. She was with professionals that could make an in-depth assessment of her health and outline a plan for us while starting the process. My husband was there as much as his daughter and her doctor wanted him to be. 2. Her mom showed up. There is a criminal investigation going on, and my stepdaughter has, with the help of her therapist, testified. We are so proud of her and hope this can be a stepping stone for her to move forward. 3. She lives with us now, and we are working closely with professionals about how to make it work. It's not perfect, it's not easy, it's not fun, but it is not something we would change. And I can't believe I have to say this, but yes, we asked her what she wanted all the way through this. We have not forced her to do anything. Update 2. Last September, I turned to Reddit after having an argument with my husband. We found ourselves in a difficult situation after it came to light that his daughter from a previous relationship had been sod and her mom disappeared. A lot of people weighed in and reached out, and we got some very different perspectives on the whole thing. This is mostly a good update, but there are obviously a lot of bad stuff popping up along the way. I can't believe I have to spell this out, but we have spoken with my stepdaughter, we'll call her Anne, about every step of the way, what she wanted, how we could make it work. And yes, we have spent a lot of money on this. Thankfully, we were in a decent place financially, and my in-laws have been helping out as well. I guess bad news first. Mom and her boyfriend showed up eventually, and there is a trial in the works. I can't say too much, but I honestly think my husband was ready to go to jail for murder at several points. Anne testified on video, thankfully, so she did not have to sit through it in front of these people. My husband is there with her permission. Anne's therapist had alerted us and the police that he suspected that she had been dosed on some occasions based on the things they talked about. My husband came home from that meeting and started researching how to get a gun. No, we did not get a gun with toddlers in the house. Unfortunately, there is no real chance of mom and boyfriend going to jail nearly as long as they deserve, which is forever in my opinion, but they will most likely get some jail time at least. Therapy is going well all in all. Anne's therapist have facilitated some sessions between Anne and my husband, which have been tough for both of them. A lot of things said. As the title says, Anne lives with us, and has since she felt ready to after being in inpatient care for a few weeks. We cleared out the office and we got the biggest lock we could find for her door. It's symbolic mostly, but she can lock that door as much as she wants on her terms. We only ask that she keeps it fairly clean and no smoking substances. She is welcome at all meals but not forced, and I always make enough that she can have it later if she wants. We did not see much of her in the first months, which was pretty expected from what we were told by our family therapist. One of us is always home unless we go out all 5 and available. My husband got more work from home days so we can make it work. We don't force her to interact with her step-siblings, but she is mostly neutral towards them. We have implemented a no touching others without asking permission rule, and sometimes the kids slip up and forget in the heat of the moment, but she has taken it super cool so far. A few weeks back, our boy ran over to the TV while she was watching something and demanded I put on his favorite show. He's only seen it like 10,000 times. I told him no, Anne is using the TV and he has to wait his turn. Without any prompting, Anne told him it was okay, switched over, and watched an episode with him. He was ecstatic and demanded another episode, which they watched before I pried him off the couch so she could watch her thing. I thanked her and assured her that she was free to say no in the future, and she said she didn't mind really. So yeah, she's not skipping school more than other teenagers I know. She has some Snapchat streak with some of the girls in her class that they do every day. Saving up for a new iPhone, stuff like that. Again, I'm not including all the details of our lives. Obviously, there are bad days and fights and yelling too, but I am cautiously optimistic that Anne is going to turn out all right in the end. She is still not calling my husband dad, and probably never will, but that's fine. We just want her to be able to live her life the best she can. Edit 1. I'll admit I do miss our life from before we suddenly had a teenager and a criminal case on our hands. Just being in that system even secondarily is hell. But I do think she's a good kid at heart. Still tests us at times, especially when she's in contact with her mom. They are not meeting, obviously, but they have some phone time. Again, we are following the advice of professionals. My husband was not on board at first. And I get it. I really do. I wish that woman would sink into the earth and live out the rest of eternity in hell. Edit 2. You may find this hard to believe, but my husband is a very loving and caring dad. He got stuck in a bad situation as a young man and didn't have the resources to resolve it in a good way. He is working so hard to do better for her. He has sat through so many fights where she has hurled insults at him, and all he can do is apologize. He's had to hear these awful details about how his child was abused and blames himself for everything that has happened to her. He has cried more times in the last year than in all the time we have known each other because he can't make that pain go away for her, even if he would take it upon himself in a heartbeat. Edit 3. They never got married, just had a kid. He has never visited much in the beginning, like first 3MO of daughter's life. They were on-off fighting and just super unstable as a family. After he moved out, got kicked out, he didn't see her much because mom insisted that their daughter was too young to be with him more than 10 minutes at the time. If his parents, Anne's grandparents, were there, it usually went a little better, so in the end, it often depended on them being able to be there as well. Once she got a little older, he tried to push for seeing her, and he did threaten to take her to court a few times, but she would make excuses, say they could work it out, like friends make promises. He had dropped out of college to work to provide for them, and had to go back to try to get his degree, so he was not in a position where he could spend thousands and thousands on legal assistance, and they both knew it. We were friends for some years before dating, and his ex would do this weird love bombing by proxy, saying that their daughter wanted to see him, missed him, asked about him, and they would set a date, and then something came up last minute, or she forgot a doctor's appointment or something like that. Then it would be impossible for him to get a hold of her, or get a straight answer for months, and then it started over. And as she got older, when he did get to see her birthdays and holidays, she would say things like she wanted to go home, she missed her mother, throw tantrums until he gave in and brought her back. We offered to take her to Disneyland when she turned 10. We figured it was a dream trip for a little girl, and we could try to get to know her a little, and she refused to go unless her mom was invited and paid for too. And when she started saying things like she hates him and she doesn't want to see him, well, he gave up trying to force the issue. Story 2. Found out my wife and my best friend was having an affair for 7 months. We met when we were 14 when I was playing in an out-of-state baseball tournament and instantly hit it off. She helped me through my parents' divorce, and I helped her through her sister's passing away. We talked often about how much we loved each other and have been together ever since. My friends would often say how I would lock myself in my room to talk to her instead of hanging out with them. We visited each other often until I moved to her state when I was 17. We were married in November of 2012, 4 years after I moved. Things were beyond amazing for the entirety of our relationship, except for 3 months when I faced a deep depression. We were very intimate, cuddly, loving, and inseparable. Most of our time was spent together. In March of this year, I started to notice a lack of affection coming from her end, and I was quite jealous of my best friend, who my wife spends a lot of time with, and babies. I don't drink alcohol due to having an alcoholic, abusive father. They drink together nearly every night, and she usually doesn't come to bed until 3 a.m. at the earliest. I usually do not go with them because I wake up rather early to work out and go to grad school. We talked about our relationship after I told her I was upset, and she told me that our relationship had zero passion and that she wasn't happy with me. I asked her to work on it with me, help me make it better, and that it wouldn't be easy. She agreed. Since then, we have not had any intimate contact, have not cuddled, have not held hands, have had 2 dates, despite me asking at least twice a week, and have made out once. We have not gone to bed within 2 hours of each other, and she has slept on the couch or in my friend's bed a few times. My birthday was last Monday, and all I got was a happy birthday. No kiss, no anything. About 1 month ago, she told me she doesn't think we have ever had the spark or passion she's talking about. She thought that loving me was enough to get us through anything. Despite all of that, I still love her with all that I am. I cannot imagine being without her. She's been my best friend for nearly 10 years. She's been the anchor in my life for just as long. I keep racking my brain to try and understand what she means. But that spark and passion has been there for me. I don't really know what to do anymore. I love this woman. She's the most beautiful person I know. She's the driving force of why I'm in grad school to provide for her and our hopefully future children. She makes me better. I want nothing more than to be with her, and it seems like it's sliding out from under me. This my first Reddit post. I don't really have much of anyone else to talk to because my best friend is part of my problem. You guys seem to be pretty accepting and helpful. How do I get the spark or passion back if she hasn't felt it in our entire relationship? Update. This will be long, I apologize. Thanks for your time. I found out on August 18th while on vacation with the two of them and a few other friends at a friend's beach house in Florida. My wife was drunk at 11 a.m. and left her phone in the house while she went to lunch with him, and I knew I had to take my chance. After reading some crude texts and several I love yous, I knew it was over. In the hope of not making a scene, I called the girl whose house we were staying at and told her what was going on. I packed my stuff and was headed to my car to drive back to Texas. That's when my wife and friend came up the elevator. They saw all of my stuff and asked what was going on. I simply said I'm going home, and after further questioning and some quips and laughs from them, blurted out, "I know you guys are screwing." His response, "What the hell are you talking about?" "No, we're not." Her response, instant tears. She walked with me to my car and told me that it started in April, but she knew she wanted to leave me long before that. That I was a wonderful person and that I'll be happier with someone else. That something between us was missing, and that she didn't need me like she used to. All I could respond with was that she made me the happiest I'd ever been, that she was all I ever needed, and that I never needed her, I wanted her. As I go back up the elevator, her new boyfriend comes down nearly in tears and asks if I want to talk to him, and all I said was never again. On my way back down the elevator, they're at the bottom. The homeowner told them they weren't welcome, so in tears he asked me if I would give them a ride back for $300. I laughed, told him, "Every time you screw her, I hope you know I wish you would have pulled the trigger." He had depression issues and was ready to end himself but decided not to because I had offered him a room at my wife and I's house to get him on his feet, and because he was my best friend. I then drove 13 hours straight home, called everyone I could think, if including both, if their parents, who I wouldn't hesitate to call mine. When I got home, I was packing my things and saw my wife's journal/diary/writing notebook. At this point, I don't care anymore, so I read it. She has a story written and dated March 14th about their very detailed intimacy life. How they would wait for me to go to sleep and screw on our couch, in my car, in my bed, when I wasn't home, in his bed, in our shower, in our garage. Another poem was dated February 2014, detailing how a shadow haunted her, but he was her future and her true love. That all she could taste was lips. This was all before I had ever known she was unhappy. We were still having intimacy regularly up until mid-March. Even had intimacy twice in very early April. So she was lying about all of that too. All of her friends have abandoned her. I now live with her former best friend, the owner of the beach house, and two of her other friends. They've all said their pieces to her and been blocked in the process. I filed for divorce finally on Friday, and my God, does it feel good. I am so relieved to be out of it. I was racking my brain for so long trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. Turns out I wasn't. Now I'm recovering slowly, I'm sure. But I now have a sudden strong interest in women. Is it just rebound? I'm not sure. I'm not pushing the issue or anything, and I haven't dated in 9 years, but I'd like to. I know it's still probably too soon, but do I long for it? Because I've had it and it's now missing. That being said, I'm happy to be single. I enjoy just being me currently, but wouldn't mind someone. I actually kind of feel like our relationship has been over for longer than a month. I mean, I was living a lie for the last 7 months. She promised we would work on our marriage while all she was doing was working on him. But I would appreciate any advice about the future and dating after divorce. I'm kind of worried, actually. I feel like no one will want me for that reason alone. TLDR found the proof I needed to accept my wife was having an affair with my best friend for the last 7 months while on vacation. It's over. They're both terrible people. How do I go about dating as a divorced 23, 24-year-old when I'm ready? Is it as daunting as it seems?